Today we're going to do a video on how to build the perfect arrow. I've had a couple personal messages and a couple of comments basically going along the lines of I have a new bow, I'm getting into bow hunting. I got a 35-pound bow, 45-pound bow, not sure what bow to get. So this is going to be the steps that I go through on whether I'm getting a compound, whether I got a crossbow, maybe not a crossbow, whether I'm getting a compound, a recurve, a longbow. If I'm getting a vertical bow, this is the steps that I would do no matter what it is. So we're going to go with this because the first arrows I got for the Samick Sage were the Black Eagles. I didn't really do the testing. I kind of went cheap, just trusted the bow shop, and they shot okay. And the reason why I just went with that and I didn't really invest it because I just got into it. I was still kind of struggling with this weight. So I didn't really want to invest a lot of time in it because I didn't know where my final draw weight was going to end up. I didn't know if I was going to increase it. I didn't want to invest a lot of time, so I just bought 6 arrows and called it good. But once I got to where this was a comfortable weight for me, and at the time I thought this was going to be a good, my 2025 setup, I went and invested some time. So what I did is I went to the bow shop, got some Easton Legacies, and I had a 400 spine and a 500 spine, and I had them cut at 31.5 inches. I had a 75 grain brass insert put in, and I got 100 grain, 120, well I did 125, 150, 175, 200, and a 225 grain field point. And I did this bare shaft, and my target was set at, I think it was like 12, 13 yards, and I just went through and I shot each point weight through the 400 spine and the 500 spine. And I did the 400 and 500 because my bow was only shooting 50 pounds. If I had this bow, it would have been a 340 spine and maybe a 300. I would have tested out. But what I did with this one was a 400 and a 500, and I just bare shafted each point weight. And for that one, at that length, my arrows were coming out into the target like this. So then, talking to the bow shop, they allowed me to go and cut my own arrows. So these are test arrows for me, I took the knock off, cut a 1/2 inch off, went back and retested. And I shot every point weight. Again, arrows came off like this. And as I slowly got from 31.5 down to 30, my arrows weren't completely sideways anymore. A lot of them were coming out, and they were like that. And then my final cut that I ended up with was 29 3/4 inch. Cutting off the back end and putting the knock back in. I went through every point weight, and then all of a sudden, the 400 spine, is that what I got? Yeah. The 400 spine arrow with 75 grains of brass and 225 grains point weight, bare shafted, was perfect. Left and right was perfect. I did it multiple times. Every single time was perfect out of my bow. And I was a little bit knock high. So I adjusted my knock point a little bit, and I was bullet holes out to 20. And I was just shooting perfect. So that was my setup. Went and got 6 of them, had them cut at that length, had them fletched, had 150 grain inserts put in, 150 grain points, because the broadheads that I use are 150 grains, and these arrows fly beautifully out of this bow. And I think my total arrow weight with these ones with lighted knocks was like 615 grains. With all lighted knock, I think I was 606. Heavy weight for that low a poundage, but then again, I also knew that my max distance, being so new to this, was only going to be about 14 yards anyway, so I didn't really care. But when I went into this, I didn't look at it as I have to be a 400 grain arrow, I have to be a 500, 700, 800. I didn't care about what my final total arrow weight was. I just wanted something that bare shaft out of my bow, at my draw length, the way I released the arrow, when I put all my body into it, when I released that arrow, how did it react? If it would have been a 500 spine, like for example, these shot beautifully out of my bow. I did bare shaft one, and they did come out kind of sideways, so I knew that it was a little bit weak. So I'm like, okay, I want to invest some time. I'm really going to stick with this. I could have hunted with these. It would have worked out fine. But I like to have as best performance as I possibly can, so I put the time and the effort into it. So total arrow weight, I think these are 580 grains. These are 606, 618 with the lighted knock. Out of this bow, it's so quiet and so smooth. And you know, for example, go with this. I got rid of my compound, but these arrows, these are Victory Extortions. I don't even know what the grain weight's on. These are 300 spine at a 75 or 72 pound compound. I was shooting a 300 spine arrow, 80 grains right here, and I was doing 150 grain broadhead. These things were I was 500. No, I was 580 or 640 grain arrow out of my bow. But I was also only shooting about 30 yards with my bow, quiet, and blew through anything. Same thing, I did the testing. And I just went through and I found something that bare shafted. And another thing, if you guys have a compound bow, you can't really do this with traditional, but if you have a compound bow, get your bow tuned perfectly. Get your cams good. Don't have your yokes all twisted off to the side. Having your cam sitting like this. Get your sight good. Get your rest good. Get everything tuned perfectly. Get 2 different spine arrows. I know you can get Victory arrows where you can get them cut. Buy them by the singles. You don't have to buy a dozen. But invest the time into it and just bare shaft until something shoots perfectly out of your bow. Don't get a 70-pound bow and have them give you a 340 spine arrow with a 100 grain field point, and then have them sit there and crank your cam all the way over to the side and twist your yokes, and your peep sight sitting all the way like this, and your rest is sitting this far off to the side. And then you'll say, well, I can't shoot fixed blades because my bow doesn't shoot fixed blades. No, it's because your bow's so far out of tune that you're lucky your arrow's even going straight. But enough of that rant. But yeah, with this, and then same thing with this bow. I spent the time. I went down. I got a. I think I just started right at 340. I just wanted to try it because I knew that a 400 was going to be too weak. I didn't want to go straight 300 because they didn't have it. So they only had the 340, so I bare shafted just a single spine. And these ones shot, I think I ended up with 29 and a half. I think I was still right at 29 3/4 actually. I'll have to measure it out. But I ended up with almost the same exact setup for my point weight on this one. These arrows are a 340 spine, so they went from, they're 10.1 grains per inch. But I'm saying, I bare shafted these at the same distance, same everything, and I found it to where it finally bare shafted perfectly. And it was the 340 spine cut at 29 3/4 inch, I believe, and it was 300 grains up front. And this arrow shoots so beautifully out of this bow that even bare shafting, I can at 20 yards I can hit almost right where I'm looking at. And once you throw feathers on there, your penetration is going to increase. Everything's going to increase. But yeah, it's tedious. It takes some time. It takes some money. It takes some investment. But if you want the best performance out of your bow, out of your setup, it's going to take some time. You're going to go down there, get a couple of spine arrows, and just spend some time testing it, cutting a little bit off until you find something that bare shafts perfectly, and then you adjust your knock point a little bit, and you're shooting bullet holes, and your arrows are going to be flying perfectly, and you'll be all set for deer season. I hope that kind of helped out some of you guys that have kind of inquired about that. I hope I explained it a little bit better than just the messages back and forth and everything. If not, please comment below and let me know. I'll try to explain it better again. But yeah, it's take the time and invest. Just don't go to your bow shop. Don't just go there and say, I got a 50-pound bow and I want an arrow, because they're gonna sell you whatever. You know, you might have a guy that knows what he's talking about, maybe you don't, and you might get an 18-year-old guy that's in there that just learned about compounds, and you're asking him to help set up a recurve, and good luck. So, but yeah, so now I went and did the time, adjusted all my whole setup, and I got a really good arrow set up here. That should be all set for the fall this year. So again, if I answered your question, I hope I did. Comment below, send me a message if I didn't, and I'll try to explain a little bit better for you. And as always, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate if you made it this far in the video, and stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to try to do some more just conversations in the gun room, and try to explain how I set things up. What do I do for preparation for the fall and everything. So if you guys have any comments or questions or suggestions, leave them down below. I try to answer every comment and contact with everybody, and yeah, I appreciate you guys' feedback. I appreciate all your guys' comments, and I look forward to seeing some more. So again, I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for the next video.